Hello, welcome to join Sangfor Partner Sales Certification Training Program. My name is Trainee and I'm a Senior Product Manager from Sangfor International Market Department. This training will be focused on HCI, Hyper-Converged Infrastructure product from Sangfor's cloud product line. Basically, the training will fall into 4 sessions. The first session is HCI background and basic knowledge introduction, to help you gain some basic understanding of the technologies which are driving HCI to the market. The second session is about Sangfor HCI sales introduction. Sangfor HCI is different from other vendors' products. In this session, you will understand some of the highlights and the unique features from Sangfor HCI. Third session of the training will be focused on the competitive analysis. Hyper-converged infrastructure is becoming more and more popular, and there are a lot of vendors who are playing in this market. Why Sangfor is standing out in the market? In this session, you will find out. The last part of the session will be focused on the basic sizing and the quotation knowledge. Okay, let's get started. Let's get to the first session of this HCI sales certification training. Like I said, the first session will be focused on some of the background and common knowledge behind Sangfor HCI. So it's good for us to recap some of the IT history. Let's see, how IT evolved to this stage. In 1940s, the world's first computer was invented in the United States. Okay, this opened a gate for IT world to prosper in the coming 20th and 21st century. In 1954, the world's first large-scale computer system, IBM 704, was announced. It's what we call mainframe now. And still to this day, IBM dominated this market. However, mainframe is not used in that common scenarios. Okay, it is basically being used by government, by banking industries, all those customers who require very high reliability and stability on the system running. So it has a very limited user scenarios. And of course, it's very expensive and very big. In 1994, the world's first rack server, ProLine, was released. And we all know that now ProLine belongs to HPE. And also HPE has the ProLine rack server or blade server product line. In 2001, VMware released the ESX. This is a milestone in virtualization world. Why was there VMware ESX? The reason actually is very simple, because before ESX or before any server virtualization was ever invented, physical servers utilization is dramatically low. Okay, you can only run one application on one physical server. It's like 20% of the resource is being actually used by the application, but the rest 80% is running in idle. Actually, it's being wasted. But you still have to provide the space, the cooling, and the energy, the power, everything for the unused 80% of resource. That is why server virtualization was introduced to address this problem. Okay, physical servers are dramatically underutilized, but using server virtualization technology, you can virtualize your physical servers. That means actually you can relate it to running several smaller servers on top of a big server, one big physical servers. You can create virtual machines and to significantly improve the utilization of the CPU, memory, and disk usage of your physical server. And until this day, server virtualization is like, dominating 80% of the modern data center. In 2006, Amazon launched AWS, Amazon Web Service, which is a public cloud service. And we all know that Amazon now is the leader in this segment. And also, Google, Microsoft are joining this market and gaining pace, gaining momentum in the market. The idea behind public cloud service is to provide IT resource like utility, just like you are using water or electricity in your house. The idea, the concept behind public cloud is to let you use IT resource is just like using water or electricity. You can have it whenever you need it. In 2008, the first wave of converged infrastructure emerged. Okay, why was there converged infrastructure? Because before converged infrastructure, if you want to build a data center, you have to buy storage, buy servers, buy all those networking devices, and then you have to buy it from different vendors, right? Like buying storage from EMC, buying servers from HPE, buying networking devices from maybe Cisco, right? And that is quite complicated, very complex. The procurement cycle can be very long. You have to wait several weeks for the different vendors' products to arrive at your data center, and you have to test it. You have to build it with the help from the system integrator, right? But sometimes they just they're sitting in silos. You have to manage them from different management platforms. So it's very, very complicated. And when it comes to service, you have to ask for help from different vendors. So it's a pain in the ass for customers to deploy a data center in that way, right? That is why all those vendors like NetApp, Cisco, or EMC and Cisco, those vendors they founded joint ventures to provide this converged infrastructure like vBlock, like FlexPort. Those converged infrastructure packaged storage from EMC, networking devices from Cisco, servers from UCS, Cisco, and then they built a unified management to manage all those different parts of the infrastructure. Okay, it's like they provide you a packaged infrastructure solution. However, the underlying architecture is still fragmented. You still have storage from EMC. You still have networking devices from Cisco, and also you have all those servers from different vendors. So even though it can be managed by a unified management platform, but still, in essence, it's segmented. There are silos. That is why in 2011, the world's first HCI product came to market. And this concept, hyper-converged infrastructure, was emerged in Silicon Valley back in 2009. Okay, at that time, companies were trying to address the problems from the storage because storage is monolithic, and it's very expensive. Sometimes you have bottlenecks, and it is very difficult to manage. There are a lot of problems existing in the traditional external storage arrays. So those startups like Nutanix, like SimpliVity or Pivotal 3, those startups they are thinking about to address the storage problems in another way using software. Okay, you don't have to buy external physical storage. You just need to use rack servers, and then they are providing the software to virtualize those disks in the servers to provide a storage pool. And the storage pool has all the functionalities you need just like in the traditional external storage. Addressing storage problems this way is very flexible and cost effective. You can also manage all those storage and servers and virtualization under one unified management platform. And until now, there are a lot of vendors who are playing in this market, and the hotness of HCI is just becoming hotter and hotter. Okay, so here we have some of the details on the evolution of IT world, just like the timeline shows. Okay, in 1940s, the world's first computer, which is called ENIAC, was invented by two professors in University of Pennsylvania, and it was very large. Okay, it uses about 18,000 vacuum tubes, and it weighs almost like 50 tons. It occupies an entire house to be functioning properly. So this is not commercially adopted by business because it simply is too large and too expensive. And at that time, there isn't too many requirements for the usage of computer. That time, computer was mainly used by a government or military departments. They are using computer to do this highly computational task. And in 1950s, the IBM, which is very famous on the mainframe, they launched their first generation of mainframe. And until now, like I said, IBM is still dominating this market. Mainframe, also known as Big Iron, is a very high performance computer, and it has a very high reliability and stability. Industries like banking and governments, they use this mainframe on the mission critical applications like transaction and the vital data storage, etc. The user scenarios for mainframe are still quite limited. No matter it is on a industry perspective or solution perspective, mainframe is quite limited, and that's why today only IBM is making mainframe, because that market segment is saturated. Okay, and there's no other people or other vendor who can challenge the dominance of IBM in the mainframe market. From 1980s until now, thanks to Intel, Microsoft, and Linux, those vendors or those products or platforms make servers, x86 servers, as the mainstream computing platform for data centers for business. You can see on the slide on the left, the first rack server was introduced by Compaq. Compaq was acquired by HP in 2000, and now HP has this ProLine server product line. In 2001, you see on the right, the first Blaze server came out. So thanks to the faster development of Intel CPU, now you can have CPU with massive number of cores, which can provide very high performance on computation. That is why software can better utilize the hardware on the x86 servers to provide different functionalities for different user scenarios. In 2001, VMware launched ESX to virtualize servers and improve the utilization of server resources. And now we can see VMware is still a major player in this market. Okay, it takes up like more than 60% of the server virtualization market. And Microsoft Hyper-V is catching up. Now Hyper-V is deployed on the Windows Server 2016 by default. That's why customers who have the requirements for Windows Server usually are the major customers who are using Hyper-V as their virtualization layer. And also, you can see those open source virtualization platforms coming out to eat up VMware's market share, like KVM, which nowadays is a very popular platform for server virtualization. And according to Gartner, 80% of the workload in data center is virtualized. So virtualization is the foundation for all the advanced technology we see today, like hyper-converged infrastructure, like cloud. In 2006, Amazon launched their public cloud service called Amazon Web Service, and followed by Google, Azure from Microsoft. All those vendors are playing in this public cloud market, and we can see the gaining momentum of these vendors in the market. When you take a look at this market scope, you will understand how big it is. All those internet startups, including Netflix, including Airbnb, including Uber or Instagram, all those famous internet startups, they are building their applications, they're building their services on top of public cloud. And because now is a cloud era, and more applications are now cloud native, so they are better to be running in cloud. That's why you can see a huge disruption brought by these internet vendors, internet giants, to the traditional IT world. It is transforming the way people are consuming IT resource. In 2008, converged infrastructure was emerged to centralize the management of IT resources. And you can see all those vendors' products, including Dell EMC. Dell EMC vBlock incorporates EMC storage, Dell servers, and Cisco's networking devices in the packaged solution. NetApp FlexPort is made by NetApp and Cisco. Okay, they are using Cisco UCS servers and Cisco switch, in addition to NetApp storage. So on the underlying architecture, infrastructure architecture, all those different elements are still fragmented. They are sitting in silos, even though you package them together physically and use a unified management to manage them. From a physical perspective, they are still separated. That is why hyper-converged infrastructure came out. In 2009, all those startups in Silicon Valley, they brought up this idea of virtualizing servers and using software to virtualize the disks in the servers and provide all those fancy features you need in traditional storage. Then, physically, when you take a look at the hardware infrastructure, they are all x86 servers. But inside the servers, that is what makes a difference. The software is realizing all those fancy features like virtualization, like server virtualization, like storage features, all you need that were previously defined by hardware now can be realized by software. And software is much more flexible. It can be deployed flexibly on different platforms, and you can have this customized experience on your applications. And also, it is scale-out architecture as opposed to the scale-up or the inscalable architecture from the traditional approach. So this can dramatically decrease the complexity of data center deployment and improve the utilization of the hardware usage, as well as reducing the cost, no matter it's operational cost or capital initial investment. So this is a trend in IT industry. Software is defining everything, and HCI, we believe, is the best practice to define your data center. Next, let's take a look at the market scope of the HCI market. Since we have already recapped on some of the IT history which brought us to this day, let's take a look why HCI is so important in this IT market. We take a look at the market growth. This is astonishing. In 2015 Q1, the total HCI market revenue is around $150 million. And after 1 year, in 2016 Q1, it rises to $371.9 million. Okay, it's like more than 100% growth, and it is almost like a linear growth during the past four quarters between 2015 and 2016. So this is a trend. This is an indication from market that HCI is favored by customers to be deployed in the data center, and they are willing to pay for this product because it helps them address so many problems in the tradition which are existing in the traditional data center. Gartner also predicted that this market is massive, and the potential market in 2019 can reach $5 billion. It is not a very big number when compared to the home IT infrastructure market. But if you know that in 2012, this entire market is still zero, then you can understand how fast HCI is growing in the IT world. To better understand this product, of course, we need to know who we are competing in this area. As you can see here, there are some major competitors in the HCI market. Nutanix, which we can say is one of the most famous HCI-focused vendors in this market, and SimpleLivity, which was acquired by HPE in February. The future for SimpleLivity, for the Omni Stack product line, is uncertain. You don't know what HPE will do to SimpleLivity's product line. They may rip off the software and throw the Dell servers away. Maybe they will converge the SimpleLivity's capability to their own hyper-converged infrastructure, which existed in their previous hyper-converged product line. So we don't know. The future holds for SimpleLivity is uncertain. VMware, which is a very strong player in virtualization, also came to the HCI market. They launched their VxLAN product in 2014, and this product is gaining a very fast pace in the HCI market. Okay, it's moving very fast because VMware has a very large customer base from VMware vSphere platform. Almost like 70% of the customers are using Dell virtualization platform. So they do have a very good foundation. So you can see we also have other vendors in this market, like EMC, like HPE, like Cisco. Cisco launched their HyperFlex last year, and even NetApp is coming to this market. Okay, since they acquired SolidFire, and they will introduce a hyper-converged infrastructure platform maybe in the middle of 2017. The last part of this session is about some of the driving technologies which are driving hyper-converged infrastructure to the IT world, to the IT market. The first one, of course, is server virtualization. This is like the foundation for all the virtualization. Okay, server virtualization is the first virtualization that ever dominated the IT hardware world. Ever since VMware launched their ESX server virtualization product. Nowadays, people are very familiar with server virtualization. This is the most mature virtualization technology in the IT world. Okay, it has been in the IT for over 15 years, ever since VMware launched ESX hypervisor, okay, in 2001. And almost like 80% of workloads in the data center nowadays are virtualized by all kinds of virtualization platforms, including VMware vSphere, Microsoft Hyper-V, or KVM or XAMPP. The original purpose of server virtualization is to improve the utilization of server resources, including the CPU, the memory, and even the the NICs. So before, you can see here, as the picture shows, okay, the hardware is x86 server, and on top of the hardware, we have this hypervisor layer, okay, which is deployed on the bare metal in a bare metal architecture. You just deploy the hypervisor on the servers, then it creates a virtualization layer. On top of the hypervisor virtualization layer, you can create virtual machines, okay? And then the virtual machine is almost the same like the physical servers, okay? You can see the virtual CPU, the virtual memory, and the virtual NICs and virtual disks. Every necessary elements are included. And you can create multiple VMs on one physical servers to increase the utilization of the physical server hardware resources. The second technology, of course, is storage virtualization. Even though storage virtualization only came out in the early 2010, but it's being adopted by customers very fast. Because if you do not virtualize your storage, it can cause a lot of problems, which we will introduce in the coming sessions. So there are two types of storage virtualizations. The first one is to virtualize traditional external storage arrays. Just like you have different storage products from different vendors. You may have storage from EMC, from NetApp, from HDS, from Dell from Dell HPE. Okay, those different storage products from different vendors are not compatible with each other. So what can you do? You can use this type of storage virtualization to virtualize all those different vendors' products, and then you can create a unified storage pool using all those storage resources from different vendors. So that is the first type of storage virtualization. The second type of storage virtualization is what we call server-side, a type of storage virtualization technology which is also being used by most hyper-converged infrastructure vendors. This technology is to virtualize all the disks in the x86 server platforms and then create a storage pool. On the storage pool, you can have all those high-end advanced storage features like thin provisioning, like replication, like snapshots, clone, all those features which were previously defined by storage hardware vendors now can be realized by software. So this is the software-defined storage architecture which are being used by HCI platforms. The last part is about VxLAN, a form of network virtualization. Typically, in a standardized hyper-converged infrastructure platforms, they only have compute and storage virtualization packaged on this x86 servers. But for Sangfor HCI is different. Okay, we are a vendor who has been in the networking and security market for over 15 years, and we have added some of our networking and security capabilities to the HCI platform. Like the VxLAN is one of the network virtualization technologies, and we are using it on the Sangfor HCI. This technology can dramatically simplify the networking communications between VMs on different nodes, and also it can increase the performance between VMs as well as reduce the time latency between the communications. It's a very important technology. This technology is the VxLAN on Sangfor HCI literally bridges VMs together. Even though they are sitting in different nodes, the traffic doesn't need to go outside and then come back. It just goes through the tunnel between different vTabs. Okay, so it's much faster and the time latency is much shorter. The configurations are simplified dramatically as well. For NFV, just like I said, Sangfor HCI has converged the security capability from our security product lines, and we can create virtual security and networking appliances on Sangfor HCI platform. And NFV is behind all those virtual appliances on Sangfor HCI. NFV stands for Network Functions Virtualization. Okay, it's like there are 4 pillars in the data center: compute, storage, networking, and security. These 4 pillars are indispensable. You cannot lack any one of them. And security, of course, now is very important, plays a very important role in the modern data center deployment. And in a traditional HCI approach, you don't have security. Okay, you don't have virtual layer 4 to layer 7 application firewalls. You don't have virtual application delivery controller. You don't have all those virtual security and networking appliances. If you want to use it, you have to purchase it from third-party vendors. But for Sangfor, it's different. We're using NFV technology to virtualize our traditional security and networking devices and put them on top of Sangfor HCI platform. So when you take a look at Sangfor HCI platform, it's totally different from other vendors' platform. Okay, we have everything on the platform, and it can be unified and managed by this intuitive management platform. So Sangfor HCI is different and unique. We are the true software-defined data center best practice platform. Okay, that's the end of the first session.